World War II ended in 1945.
General military planners assumed the last holdouts were long gone. Rescue came with bright flashlights. He saw another tactical trick. Home arrived as concrete evidence, but suspicion answered first. This is the classified story of soldiers who fought a phantom frontline, 1944. The Pacific War Theater was rapidly... High Command issued a strict, unyielding order to a young lieutenant. The mandate was absolute. Survive, hold the island, and never surrender. His official instructions explicitly forbade him from ever. He retreated deep into the mountains with 3 remaining loyal men. They established a strict, rotating patrol schedule through the dense foliage. To them, the war was not ending. It was simply adapting. Rations ran low almost immediately, forcing them to raid local farms. Every single sunrise required... 1945 arrived. The outside world signed...
Announcements of the Japanese surrender were broadcasted across the Pacific.
The psychological lock was set. The Phantom War had begun. For these men, the calendar froze in late 1945. They cached spare ammunition rounds in waterproof jars beneath the soil. Every passing month was recorded as another delayed Allied offensive. The trigger was cocked, and time stood completely still. Survival deep inside the Pacific jungle required every resource was repurposed into tools for an endless war.
They carved hidden trails across the island to monitor local movements.
Discipline replaced comfort as the months turned into long years. Rainwater became their primary lifeline during the brutal dry seasons. He documented their daily patrols in meticulous, unreadable field journals.
Weapons maintenance was treated as a sacred imperial military obligation.
The perimeter was strictly wired with primitive but effective defensive traps. They rarely spoke aloud, communicating mostly through subtle hand gestures. Rations were supplemented by gathering coconuts and stealing local livestock. Their clothes began to rot, patched repeatedly with jungle vines. Typhoon season brought severe isolation, cutting off all geographic visibility. Time lost all meaning as decades passed outside the jungle. To them, every distant noise was a potential enemy vanguard. Rumors of peace were dismissed as psychological traps by command. They became ghosts, leaving absolutely no trace for search parties. Navigating the remote island terrain required absolute, unyielding sensory mapping. Personal identities faded, consumed entirely by the original mission statement. Emergency supplies were buried in sealed jars beneath the mountain roots. The empire they fought for had already ceased to exist. Meanwhile, the rest of the world entered a modernized era. Every piece of equipment was meticulously preserved against tropical decay. Their small fortress was completely frozen in 1945 logic. External history had stopped, locked inside an old military mandate. They maintained their daily combat readiness for over 30 years.
Isolated on different islands, each man fought a lonely war.
Messages from home arrived occasionally, but suspicion read them wrong. Search operations were launched, but the jungle hid them perfectly. The Phantom War continued, completely hidden from the modern world. The outside world tried to reach them from the sky.
Thousands of official surrender leaflets rained down onto the island.
Loudspeakers broadcasted messages into the valley.
Letters written by their own families were dropped into thickets. Every piece of concrete evidence was twisted to fit war logic.
Intercepted radio static was interpreted as coded imperial military coordinates.
Years dissolved into decades while the psychological trap locked tighter. Their existence narrowed down to absolute survival and constant vigilance. Search parties swept the island but found only empty trails.
The Philippine government classified them as dangerous local insurgent elements.
To the holdouts, every single firefight proved the war continued. His comrades had fallen over the decades of jungle skirmishes. His daily routine remained flawlessly disciplined. The soldier stated he would only surrender upon formal command. The Japanese government had to locate his original wartime commanding officer. A message from the past was finally entering the jungle. In 1974, his former commander stepped back into the jungle. The meeting was strictly formal, stripped of any modern sentimentality. The commander read the final surrender order from decades ago. Returning to a modernized Japan brought an immediate cultural shock. The high-tech world felt more alien than 30 years of isolation. His survival gear was instantly transformed into static museum relics. His story was framed by total abandonment and empire displacement. Two parallel survival journeys revealed the true cost of warfare. The human mind proved to be the most resilient weapon. Decades of official records were compiled into top-secret folders. The physical artifacts were filed away far from public view. The radio waves fell silent, leaving only their survival techniques became legendary case studies for intelligence planners. Modern military analysts still study the mechanics of total conditioning. Tactical deceptions changed, but human psychology remained. Minds were simply ordered never to leave the front line. The Phantom War ended officially on paper in late winter. The files were sealed, but the historical lessons endure. Imagination and rigid discipline became the ultimate machinery of survival. The jungle outposts dissolved, returning to the wild tropical canopy. History documented the surrender, but the scars marched forward. They guarded a ghost front line for over 30 endless years. Some history was intentionally buried. Sometimes, the fake army leaves the most authentic historical lesson. The strangest operational truths rarely survive in clean school textbooks. Scribed for more buried chapters directly from the dark archive. History moved forward. Some minds were commanded to stand still.